Hi all, and welcome back to this course on unit testing with XUnit and C#. This one's going to be really short and simple. All we're going to do is the actual project setup. So we'll start by opening your preferred IDE. As I said in the last video, mine is Rider, and that's what this course will be done with. But you can use any other IDE really. Visual Studio is probably the easiest. And once it's loaded up, we're going to click a new solution. And we're going to be making two projects. We're going to be making the project where we've got our production code and the project where we're going to place our test code. So we're going to start by creating the production code level. And for this, I'm going to make a class library. So we'll call our solution unit test course, which is probably easiest for me, which apparently I've already named. So I'll call it unit test courses because I'm lazy. And we'll call the project production code. And for the framework, you can use any modern framework. So .NET 5, .NET Core 3.1, or what I'm going to use is .NET Standard 2.1, which is a good choice for a class library that isn't ever going to be an executable. And we're going to create that one. Okay, and once that's loaded, we're going to have to load, or create, I should say, one more. And this one's going to be our actual unit test project. So we can do that by right clicking on our solution and adding a new project. And this time we're going to pick a unit test project. Now, the choice of framework here is important. So I've got the option of .NET 5 or .NET Core 3.1. Depending upon what project you chose, you should really match this. So if you chose a .NET 5 project, make sure you have a .NET 5 unit test project. If you've got .NET Core 3.1, make sure you choose .NET Core 3.1, otherwise you won't be able to reference each other. If you chose .NET Standard 2.1, like I did, then either 5 or 3.1 will work. If you went lower and went .NET Standard 2.0, then you should really only be using a .NET Core anything below .NET Core 3. So for this one, I'm going to choose .NET Core 5, and we're going to give it a name such as unit tests, which is a nice descriptive name and makes quite a lot of sense. And this will, by default, already load up all of our packages that we need. But if unit test project wasn't an option for you or you're already using, you can install it manually. So for that, you can go to your project, go to manage NuGet packages, and from here you can install XUnit and the XUnit run a Visual Studio. You can see they're already installed here for me, so I don't need to reinstall them. But if you didn't have XUnit as an option, then this is what you'll do next. The final step for this is to connect these two projects together, meaning they need to be able to reference each other. So for that, we want the unit test project to reference to production code, because we'll be testing the production code classes and functionalities. So for that, we'll right click again, add a reference, and we want to add the reference to production code. And once that's added, we should be able to, you can see we've got a class 1 here that was already created by default under production code. And we've got a unit test 1, which was created by default. But now, just to test that's all worked, you should be able to create a new class 1. And if you can do that, that means all your references are working as expected. And for this video, again, that's it. So it was a really short one. Apologies, I know it was quite dull, but from here on in, we'll be actually concentrating on the subject of unit testing and writing some code to be able to test. And again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.